Hey everybody, good morning. It is Wednesday, May 6th. Going to go through 9.2 today with you guys. Yesterday we went through 9.1. If you missed it, that video is up on YouTube. So just make sure that you guys go and check that out. All right, so yesterday we talked about race, culture, and ethnicity and differentiated between them, and then briefly discuss cultural diversity and acculturation. So the next part is the ugly side of culture and varying cultures and society and things like that. I went to Rutgers University. I'm representing Rutgers today. It's near and dear to my heart. Going there was one of the best decisions I ever made because I was immersed in such cultural diversity on campus, more so than I had in my high school experience in Ocean City. Ocean City in South Jersey is, has, some diversity here and there, but being able to be in a city type of place, people from all over the world going to school there really, I think, helped formulated me and my mindset, and being involved in all that really helped open me up to different cultures and different things like that. So I think that having that experience was important for me, and I hope that you guys seek out those opportunities to immerse yourself in different cultures and things like that, so that you can avoid all of the things that I'm going to be talking about in today's video. So these are the three ugly sides to cultural diversity: bias, prejudice, and stereotype. So differentiating between them: bias is when your judgment, one way or the other, inhibits, or your preference or inclination, the way you lean one way or another, inhibits your judgment. So it doesn't allow you to make proper judgments. It would be like if there was 10 applicants for a job and 9 of them were highly qualified and the 10th was a little bit less qualified, but the person hiring knew them. It was a family member, it was a friend of a family, and then they hired that person over the rest of them. Their preference is inhibiting their judgment. That would be an example of a bias. It happens all the time. It's just one of those things that you have to deal with in society. Then there's prejudice. That's where your judgment or your feelings that you have inhibits your decision making process. Essentially, you don't look at any of the facts, you don't review any of the information, you just make your judgments, and usually those judgments are made in fear of differences, fear of people, one way or the other. So a prejudice might be, before going into the hiring process, somebody decides, I'm not hiring any teens, no teenagers. They're not eligible for this position, not because of the legality of their age, not like they have to be 18 to work at the place or something like that. Just they could work there, but they just have this prejudice about them. They don't believe that they're highly qualified enough for the position, so they just don't hire any of them. So that would be like prejudice. And then a stereotype is an all blanks are blank sort of statement. So all people who wear glasses are nerds, right? So it's an all blanks are blank statement. Stereotypes can be positive or negative. You can have a positive stereotype, which is where you attribute a positive characteristic to a group, but it doesn't necessarily make it a good thing. That would be like, saying that like um, all teachers know everything or something like that. Like teachers know everything. Well, teachers know their content and they're usually pretty good at their content, but to make the claim that they know everything would be attributing a positive stereotype to them. And that could necessarily work negative. The same thing with all people that wear glasses are smart. That's a positive stereotype. You're attributing a positive characteristic, the fact that they're smart, but maybe that person struggles with math and somebody says, well, you should be great at math. You wear glasses. Well, that's, stereotype doesn't work. And then it can be, the opposite way. So if you're saying all people in a particular group are bad at something or can't do something, or have criminal activity, like if you said like all Italians are mobsters or something like that, that would be a stereotype. You're attributing a negative characteristic to that group. So these are all things obviously that you want to try to avoid as much as possible, and make sure that they're not part of your decision making. The reasons are that these types of things will create a barrier to relationship, and we always talk about in this class how it's important to build relationships, especially with this being a people career. You don't want to have it where you're creating or adding barriers into relationships. You would take out your personal feelings when you're making decisions. And so I just challenge you guys to think of different ways that you yourself might avoid bias, prejudice, and stereotype. And if you can come up with a couple, throw them in the comments of this video to let me know that you watched. All right, we can continue into 9.3 because that was a short one. So 9.3 is understanding cultural diversity. So first of all, you have to understand that, we just talked about stereotypes. All blanks are blank. None of this is saying that all of the people of a certain culture are a certain way, but many people, or there are cultural norms throughout that culture that you can be aware of to help you, in a case if they do pop up, you're able to be aware and say, oh, okay, I understand that cultural norm because I studied it. So being aware of these beliefs helps you meet all the needs of your patients. In your book, there's a bunch of different charts in this chapter. If you want to take a look at them, it's different cultures and their beliefs towards medicine, and then different religions and their overall beliefs towards medicine. And I think kind of having a brief understanding of those would be helpful. So the first thing about cultural diversity is realizing that family structure has an impact on it. You have the nuclear family, which is your standard biological mother, biological father, children. Then you have extended family, which is where members of the extended family raise children. Then either a nuclear or an extended family might lean patriarchal or matriarchal, where the patriarch or the male figure is the head of the household, or the matriarch or female character is the head of household. And just kind of having an overall recognition of this is essential, because you're going to need to know who's running point in a family, especially if you're dealing with a minor or a child, or even if you're dealing with a spouse, or if they're divorced and there's a step parent situation. Knowing as a doctor or knowing as a nurse who you're allowed to speak with. So family organization, it is a part of cultural diversity. So these tables, 9.1 and 9.2, like I just alluded to, will tell you all about language differences, personal space and touch differences, eye contact and gesture differences from culture to culture, and what their beliefs in healthcare are. So I encourage you to check out those two tables in your book. 9.4 is coming up with ideas to respect diversity and to respect different cultures. So ways that you can do that is you just regard individuals as unique. So you kind of do the opposite. You don't attribute necessarily a culture to, oh, just because a person looks this way, their skin color is a certain thing, you don't just automatically attribute that culture to them. You regard that individual as unique, and kind of as it comes to you make your decisions properly with them. Um, you want to realize, though, that people adopt beliefs, they form patterns of behavior based on the culture that is influencing them. That's the reason why you need to make sure that you surround yourself with the right people. If you remember back to the first set of notes, culture is learned, shared, social, and dynamic. Culture is learned, meaning you can be influenced and you can learn and you can pick up culture. So if you understand that, you can surround yourself with the right people and know that your behaviors would be influenced by them. So if you surround yourself with positive people, you're going to have positive results. Negative people, you might have negative results. And healthcare workers especially need to learn to make sure to respect those differences. All right, guys, that's actually it for notes for the chapter. Thank you guys so much for watching these videos. Please like and please comment ways that you think you can respect an individual, ways that you think that you can help appreciate the cultural diversity of others. All right, guys, thanks for watching.